Shalom Yashrala, this is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone and taught us this truth and every will. And salutation and much love for you, I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I'll jump into this here lesson real quick, which was inspired pretty much by, a lot of the topics that's going on right about now, with the talk about, Israel and everything else like that, and who are the Israelites and all these different things and skin color and all these different, all these different topics. All right. But just going back into what the scriptures say, because, a lot of these, how do I put it? These, the controversies or these ideologies is actually all spoken about in the scriptures, but, what happens is our people, they go to church for 40, 50 years and they never understand any of these things, man. They think that God is all loving and it's just love, 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 love. But slavery is bad. But you don't address the fact that, the majority of the time, damn near all the time in the scriptures, that Jacob's pretty much in captivity. All right. So slavery is a very prominent topic in the scriptures. All right. And then just dealing with a lot of these different things, dealing with hate and everything else like that. Esau hated Jacob. All right. So, and these are things that's just spoken about in the scriptures. Now, when it comes to, for this here topic of this here lesson, all right, we're going to refer to, basically going into these two different people, right? You have Jesus, right? Who the world, not to say who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, but, the people in the world who they refer to as Jesus, right? You have this Jesus guy, and you have Yahweh, right? So now you'll find, with this here scenario, you have these people that are talking about Jesus this and Jesus that. Well, then when you really go into the deeper end of it, you actually do have two different people here that you're talking about, because, when they speak about Jesus came and he did away with the laws and everything else like that, like thinking about it in a way deeper sense, like, I mean, y'all kind of right, where you have a scenario like, let's say, for instance, they don't have the proper understanding of, for let's just deal with, doing away with this so-called law, right? When Yahweh Shah died, the only laws that was done away with was the sacrificial laws, all right? But as far as this so-called Jesus character, right, I like to call it Crowley Christianity, all right? Aleister Crowley, had the saying, "Do thou wilt." And when you deal with this here Jesus guy, all right, dealing with this here Jesus guy, he tells you, hey, the ideology of these people who have this understanding of him, because like I said, there's a difference of what people believe versus what the scriptures say. Like, for instance, to give you an example to kind of point out the difference between these two, all right, they say that Jesus was born on Christmas, right? But nowhere in the scripture does it tell you about anything like that, right? So, this just goes forth to show you two different things. All right. So, hey, when these people talk about this here Jesus guy and everything else like that, that's one different person. But what you'll find out, which is also written in the scriptures, like I said, most people aren't even reading the scriptures. You'll find out that, that the Lord was basically replaced. All right. What you people are looking at is a replacement. All right. Now we have, all the things that you need to know about the Lord is actually written here in the scriptures. There's a, how you say it, controversy. Oh, nobody knows what the Lord looked like. Well, we can read right here exactly what the Lord looked like. They give you his description in the Bible. All right. And people who make statements like this, all right, they've never actually read the Bible themselves, because like I said, anybody that read, a little bit in the Bible would know, yeah, the Lord was actually depicted. All right. So let's go ahead and touch on that real quick. All right. But like I said, what you'll find out that there is basically two different people here. All right. You have this ideology of this new made up person, and we'll get into some images and things like that. All right. But you have this new made up person that they've made up versus, what the scripture describes. All right. It's two different things. All right. Just like, hey, another thing that the world makes up is like, oh, the Lord is dealing with the church, the body and the church and this, and then you go to church, you think about all that. Oh, talking about the church, the believers and stuff, like, where the scripture is clearly talking about something completely different. They're talking about the elect of the children of Israel. All right. They're talking about a select race of people. All right. But yet and still, they, and the ideology is completely different. Oh, God loves everybody. All these different people from all nations, all peoples and all tongues. Like, all right, yeah, that sound like, you could pull the wool over somebody's eyes, but when you just deal with what the scriptures say, the scripture said that the Lord was going to scatter Israel into the four corners of the earth amongst all nations. So when the Lord was going to go and redeem Israel and bring them back, he was going to go and gather them from those same nations that he scattered them unto. So we understand things in the context. then you understand, like, oh, this actually makes sense. It's not talking about everybody. It's actually talking about the Israelites that was scattered amongst all these people. And the same thing is we're going to go into here is like, look, you know, again, what going through this here scenario, let's just go into the, the imagery, right? We'll grab some pictures real quick, but matter of fact, guess we'll do a little bit of jumping around. But let's just go ahead and read this verse in Revelation 1 and verse 13. All right, because again, like I said, contrary to popular belief, they give you a full description. So for when people say that nobody knows what the Lord looked like, you don't know what the Lord looked like because you ain't read the Bible. All right, Revelation 1 and 13, it says, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, all right, which is the Lord, girded about, clothed with a garment down to the foot, girded about the paps with a golden girdle. Now, basically what that's saying is like he wore a garment. Like if you ever see us on the highways and the byways, the garment is pretty much like how we wear. And it said girded about with the paps with a golden girdle. So basically like, I always like to reference this as like a WWE wrestling belt. You know what I'm saying? One of those big old, like the Goldberg belt or something like that. You're wearing this big old gold belt, It says, and his head and his hairs were white like wool. All right, and that's going into the texture of it. All right, you know how they would say, so-called Negroes got nappy hair. You got that Afro-like hair. All right, like woolly-like hair. All right, if there's really no way around this, right? Because you could say, hey, asking a depiction of somebody's hair type. Hey, do they have hair like a wool or like a lamb or a sheep? All right, or do they have like hair that's like a horse's tail? All right, which kind of hair is it? All right, so hey, when you look at this imagery of this here Jesus guy, all right, he has more or less like like a horse's tail type hair, not like a sheep's hair or matted hair or anything else like that, man. All right, you want to know what his hair felt like? Go in your bathroom and go get you a cotton ball out or something like that, man. All right, now does the hair feel like that? All right, or does the hair more or less, like I say, feel like a horse's tail? All right. It says his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. All right. Now that's going into just the color of it. All right. And it says, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. All right. And his feet like unto fine brass. All right. So, and again, you have to, first of all, let's just stop right there. It says his feet were like fine brass. Now, this isn't like no trickery of the mind or nothing like that, but you just got to understand, like, a lot of times people like to go too deep with stuff. Like, bro, if I was to tell you, say something about the color of my feet, like, oh, my feet, let's say, for instance, we talking about a so-called white person, right? Now, they, let's just say they was out at the beach or something like that, and they all sunburnt. And they just, just imagine them sitting in a chair or something like that, you're in a little lawn chair at the beach, and you looking down at your feet. Damn, my feet is beat red, from being out in the sun. Well, what color do you think the rest of their damn body gonna be? All right, have you ever seen somebody with different color feet than their arms is one color, the feet is a whole other color, their back is another color, their chest another color, and their face a different color? You ain't never seen nobody like that, man. All right, now you could be with the semantics. Some people do have like what they call vitiligo, have spots all over, but we talking about the majority of people, man. All right, the majority of the people you done seen, what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, put it this way, for you men out there, all the women you done slept with, what I'm saying? You seen a woman's feet. The feet is the same color as the back of her legs. The back of her legs the same color as the front of her arms. The front of her arms same color as the back of her back. And the back of her back the same color as the front of her chest, right? You ain't never seen nobody with, different colored body parts like that, right? So here it says, and his feet were like unto fine brass. Now, what color is brass? You ever seen a brass key or something like that? Or, pennies are like copper, but, a piece of brass or something like that, man. All right. Brass is a derivative of brown. All right. Now, to go further on to that, first of all, this was a brown-skinned man. All right. People like to say, oh, he was of olive color and everything else like that. Well, olives come in black and green. So, I mean, you ever seen a green person walking around? All right. But it says, and you never seen a black person walking around like a fully black person, right? But it says his feet were like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So, hey, if you burn anything, the whitest of white things, you got a house with white walls in there and it catch on fire, what color them walls going to be after the fact, man? All right, so anything that you want to burning, all right, gets what? Darker. All right, it don't get lighter, nothing like that. So you already got a brown-skinned man, all right, where it says that it looked as if his feet was burned in a furnace. All right, so hey, you going into this here scenario, you dealing with a dark skinned man. All right, now this is what the Bible is describing him as. All right, so for people to say, hey, we don't know what he looked like. All right, again, you've never read the scriptures, man. All right, how you guys got so much information on a person, but don't go to the source where they talk about this here person, man. All right, so hey, you know, oh, Jesus, we don't know what Jesus looked like. Like, where do you even hear about this here person from anyway? Oh, they talk about him in the Bible. Where have you ever looked in the Bible and read about this here person that you're talking about? Like, if this is where you heard the source of where you heard from, don't you think there would be more information in there about him? All right, but nevertheless, you know, again, people like to not understand these things, and not to mention, I mean, we can go a little deeper on this. Like, he had relatives, right? You know what I'm saying? They give you his whole lineage of people. And now in that lineage of people, we could tell you the how do I say, well, even the scriptures tell you, like Solomon said, I am black but comely. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like the curtains of Kedar. All right. You know, talking about that skin color, you know, Judah born at the gates there of language there, black unto the ground, roughly paraphrasing. You know what I'm saying? Going into the, well, you also have like Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but dealing with Moses and Miriam, all right, you know, of their dark skin color. All right. So, hey, this is the same scenario that you have going on. All right. But it says, where were we at? Verse 15 again. And his feet were like fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Hey, he had that you know, that deep Russian voice. Now think about this, man. You know, for you men, you Jake men, all right, you already know what it's like for, you know, when you be around and you be speaking. Let's just say you in a working environment, like in the office or something like that, or you inside the store. I have to catch myself from this sometime too, because I be just speaking, and I be speaking kind of like in a loud tone. All right, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people be all, you know, you'll see them kind of be shaking. What's the hell going on over there? You know what I'm saying? You might be walking in the gas station, see somebody, you know, the people that you see every damn day at the gas station. Hey, what's going on, bro? You know what I'm saying? And people, you know, they, oh shit, what's going on up in here? You know, they, you know, talk a little more soft, a little bit more timid, and everything else like that. But Jake, you know, and that's one thing about Jake, man. You hear Jake, you know, Jake off in the distance conversate with one another. People always think it's some shit popping off. All right, just because of the you know, the power that they have in their voice, man. All right, speaking like that, man. You know, when we want to talk about, you know, white people and stuff, we make these types of voices. But then when you talking about Jake, you know what I'm saying? You got these types of voices. You know, when people be trying to impersonate folks and stuff like that. So, hey, this is like when the Lord spoke, man. All right, but the point I wanted to just grab was, you know, going into the color of his skin here. All right, and then also the type of hair that he had was a so-called black man, right? Of a so-called black man. All right, having our features. All right. Again, who on the face of the earth, you know, even out of all the rest of the tribes, who on the face of the earth got, you know, woolly like hair? All right, you know, where, you know, we have a so-called natural curl or afro and everything else like that, man. All right, for these Edomites and stuff like that, for them to try to get our hair, they have to do a whole lot for their hair to be like ours. For our hair, we just wake up, our hair is like that, man. All right, but that's just how it is. All right, but let me go from there to, well, let me just touch back on this. All right, it says, going back, verse 14, and the head of his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. All right, and so let's go into this here imagery. All right, now I just typed in Jesus Christ. Right now, this is what you get when you get, you know, the imagery of when you look up this Jesus Christ guy. Right, they have all these images and they all pretty much look the same. All right, all got the same stringy hair, you know, the little beard, the little nose, and everything else like that. All these pretty much look relatively the same, right? All of these images and everything else like that. Now, you have to ask yourself, how come he doesn't have this here woolly hair? All right, this is, like I said, stringy hair, like as if he had you know, like a horse's tail type hair. All right. Then also said his hairs was white like wool. All right, so it was like a woolly hair, but then also white as snow. All right, why is he pictured here with brown hair? All right, instead of having white hair. All right, and none of this looks woolly like wool or anything else like that. In all these different pictures, you don't see none of these pictures depicting him with that type of hair. Right now, let's go from touching on this while we're looking at these images. They say that his skin in the scriptures, his skin was like burnt brass, or like brass first and foremost. Now this here person that you see on here, their skin color is nowhere near like brass. If anything, it's pale white and everything else like that. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't describe these types of people with, you know, trying to how do I say, describe their skin tone is like brass. The last thing you would, any of these so-called white people, none of these people would ever describe their skin tone like brass. All right, now in fact, what do? That you go to these tanning salons and stuff like that. They got what they call like brass toner or whatever. They all want to go get what they call that shit, a spray on tan or a tan. I need to go get bronzed over. All right, and everything else like that. Why do they have to change their skin color to look like that? Now, when they go in there, they look one way. They look pale like this, but then they come out, they look a little bit more like how Jake looked, man, with darker colored skin. All right, so this goes clearly to show you that you have, first of all, two different people, because hey, the scripture don't describe no man looking like this right here, man. All right, bronze skin, all right, and woolly hair. But we'll call back later. But anyway, the scriptures don't talk about anything like that in this here imagery, man. All right, so that's the first cut. But like I said, when you type in Jesus Christ, this is the image that comes up. All right, now why is these things like this? All right, so let's go back to the scriptures. Let me go to Job chapter 9, verse 24. All right, because again, like I said, contrary to popular belief, all these things that a lot of these things that's coming up nowadays, as far as the talking points, the controversies and things like that. Oh, the Hebrews to Negroes type scenario. Oh, they can't be black and this and that. Like, look, man, the scriptures describe something different than that. And then people would say, well, if it did, we would know about these things, man. Well, the scriptures talk about these things. You don't read the scriptures, you don't understand what's going on. Plus, you don't look at the history. All right, the history clearly will tell you about these things. All right, so Job chapter 9, verse 24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? All right, so it says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, which is who? All right, you look around, Esau is in control of every damn thing, right? Now to back that up, it says he covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? So if he covered the faces of the judges, right? Now we was just looking at these here images, right? So this here person, right, doesn't look like, it says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Now, putting two and two together, well, you say that, do the Chinese people rule the world right now today? All right. And if, you're like, oh, the Chinese people rule the world. Well, it says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. They will be in rulership. And they would also paint the images like unto themselves. How come this man, images isn't painted like the Chinese man, the African man, the Arab man, or anything else like that? Why is this man all, you only see one so-called race of people that's done this out of all these pictures, right? Just scrolling out of all these pictures, you pretty much just see all white people, man. All these images is of so-called white people and everything else like that. And nobody has a problem. Nobody bats an eye about any of these things and nothing else like this. All right. Nobody has a question about none of these different images of so-called Jesus, right? None of these images. Now, the moment that you put up a so-called black man as Jesus, then everybody has a problem with it. Then who is that guy? Why y'all trying to impersonate Jesus? Why y'all got these people looking like that? Why y'all got this and that going on? There was that famous episode of what was it? Good Times, where they talk about the black not my Jesus, and then the black Jesus and everything else like that, man. But as we scrolling through, nothing but Jesus or white Jesus over here, man. All right, this is all that you see whenever you type in this here. What I type in, Jesus Christ. All right. All of these images look white. So, hey, he covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? All right, now who is ruling the earth? All right, they paint the images like unto themselves, right? And this is all you see when you scroll all the way down through this, right? Now, let's go back to, let me read this one more time and grab a different precept. Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he? Now, going to, guess I'll start up at the top a little bit. Well, we can read from verse 45. First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 45. Now Jerusalem, I gotta read something a little different. All right, so let's go over here real quick, and we'll come back to that. What do I want to grab? Ezekiel 36. I don't want to go too far off topic, but just to bring this here point home, Ezekiel 36 in verse 2. Trying to read through this kind of quick. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy have said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are in our possession." So we're about to read about that, right? It says, "Therefore prophesy and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen. And you are taken up in the lips of the talkers, and are of infamy of the people." Let me just keep reading. I got two more verses. It says, "Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh power. Thus saith Yahweh power to the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, and to the desolate waste, and to the cities that are forsaken, which become prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart. With their spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey." Now, Idumea is another way of saying Edom, all right? Now, it says here that Edom took the land in possession, right? So, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, all right? The same people here. All right, now, when we go back over here talking about how these are the same damn people, right? First Maccabees 3 and 45. "Now Jerusalem laid void as a wilderness, and there was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and the aliens kept a stronghold. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipes with the harp ceased. Therefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah over against Jerusalem, for Mizpah was the place where they had prayed aforetime in Israel. And they fasted that day and put sackcloth." Well, let me stop right there. So going into this here scenario, again, the same thing going on here. All right, the heathen had came into our place and everything else like that, right? Verse 46, "Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together." We just read that, but we'll read it again. "Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah for over against Jerusalem, for in Mizpah was the place where they had prayed aforetime." It says, "Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothing or their clothes." All right, here's the point. It says, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen, all right, had sought to paint the likeness of their images." So this is what the heathen would want to do: paint the likeness of their images, right? And so let me grab another precept to go along with that real quick in I believe 2 Corinthians 11. Yeah, this is 2 Corinthians 11 and 13. This is, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." All right. "Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work." So again, we will, putting these precepts together, the heathen came in and took over our place. All right, the heathen took over the world as well. They covered the face of the judges. They laid open the book of the law, and how does scripture say? They laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen sought to paint the images like unto themselves. Let me get that wording correct. All right. First Maccabees 3 and 48. "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images." So, hey, they wanted to paint the images like unto themselves. All right. And again, so, no marvel, for Satan transformed himself into an angel. Like, this is what they're doing, painting the images like unto themselves. There's a thing called, let's look at some of this real quick. It's called iconoclasm. All right. Let me, what is that stuff called? In fact, you know what? We'll come back to that. So here we go. This is a book. Look how expensive this book is now. Use 3,900. Use 5,900. All right. 2,700. Oh, that's probably just one picture. $7,000. But anyway, not to get too far off topic, I just typed in Russian icons. This is what you can look up right here, right? This is an old, basically these are old images, right? Before that, they was whitewashed with Michelangelo. But in fact, these were still even whitewashed, all right? You know what I'm saying? But you can still see the remnant of the original of these images, all right? And there's this here book, Russian Icons, and everything else like that, where you can see, and they got it for $66,588. It wasn't never that expensive, but hey, it is now. All right. But you see these here images, they look like so-called black people, right? All right, you see Moses over here off to the right. All right, it says Saint Moses the Black, all right, with the white woolly hair. Look at his hair. Just like how they describe Yahushua in Revelation chapter 1. All right. But yet still, you have these other whitewashed images and everything else like that. But hey, this is what they wound up doing over time. I believe this was Luke right over here, but not 100% sure. When you look inside these images, they'll tell you who is who in a lot of these different images. But as you can even see, this image right here to the right is a whitewashed image, but you can go over to the left, which we'll look up here in a second. So this here image that you're looking at right here, which I believe in modern day time is called the mother and child, or the virgin and child. I believe it's called the mother and child, or the virgin and child, right? But you can go back and you can look it up in what they call the Black Madonna, right? So we'll look that up. Right. So, and this is what you see, the origins of this here image. All right. Now, this is one of the things that you have, like I said, this is like a Western world problem, because when you go over into the other side of the globe, right, all these people in these, like the Pope and all of them in these churches, these big ass Catholic churches and stuff like that. All right. This is what they worship over there, man. These are the images that they're looking at when you go over there and you look at these people in these churches, man. All right. Let's see what this here image is looking like. All right, this lady over here in one of these churches, and these is big ass images. They ain't got, look now, they got the little white ladies off to the side in the smaller image, but the really big older picture is of a woman of color. All right, but as you can see, from the picture off to the left versus the one to the right, how they kind of whitewash it throughout time, but this is the same image. All right, boom. All right, let's look up that now. Look at this. All right, now this is the Pope, right? You have the Pope that's bowing down onto these black images, right? So, if anybody know about anything, you can call yourself a Catholic, a Christian, or whatever. Hey, the head of your so-called church, all right, of all that's going on, these people that really know, your Pope is even bowing down to this here same imagery of a so-called black woman and a black child. They know that the Lord is a so-called black man, all right? This isn't a controversy, with this whole controversy of Kyrie and everything else like that. That's an argument for stupid people, all right? For people who's not well educated on not well versed in the scriptures, not just the scriptures, but just, not to say history, but people around the globe, man. All right, because like I said, you don't really have to know nothing about the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? But you go to one of these churches over here and see the Pope and who he bowing down to and everything else like that, you'll be asking, well, wait a minute, why they bowing down to this black woman and this black child? Who is that? All the images I done seen is of a so-called white people, man. All right. Here you go right here. Pope down here on his knees, bowing down to this here image. Right. Here it is again. Just so there's no, that was, it just looked like that. Nah, this is what this here image is. All right. Pope Francis prays at the Black Madonna. All right. So, here it is again. You can't even see it in this image. Oh, here is a better view of it. But boom, there you go. All right. But there's another image I was looking for. But as you can clearly see, these are so-called black images. All right, of black people. These are more, how do you say, historically accurate images and things like that. All right. But here's another image right here. But I wonder what that says. It says the centuries-old evil scheme to enslave probably the Israelites. Talking about Jake and stuff like that. But anyway, like I said, when you look at these here images and stuff like that, when you go over to these churches, all right, these big old Catholic churches and stuff like that, you deal with the Pope and all that. These are the images that they bowing down to over there, man. All right, they would come over here and look at these images like, what the hell's going on with that? But we would look at these images and be like, oh, y'all got it wrong. All right, now when you see Jake walking up and Jake have images like this of black people images and stuff, they look at us like we wrong or we crazy. But then, oh, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all bugged out. Well, wait a minute. You say yourself as a devout Catholic or a devout Christian. Who is your Pope bowing down to? Who does he say is actually the actual people? What did the Lord actually look like? These people would love to tell you that they don't know what the Lord looked like, but obviously, they over here bound down to black people images and everything else like that. Some people will say like this image here, oh, it's just the color of the stone and everything else like that. Hey man, when they got images where they painted it full in color, all right, with multiple different colors, this is how they still depict it. All right. Now I wanted to go back to looking up this Cesare Borgia. All right. So now we had looked up Jesus Christ at first, right? You get a lot of these images that look like this guy on the left. All right. But this is who this here person really is. All right. Like we just read in the scriptures, they covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not wearing who is he. All right. They laid open the book of the law and sought to paint the images like unto themselves. All right. It's no marvel for Satan is transformed into an angel of light. All right. This is the damn devil that's over here, man. All right. But now he's being put up into the churches. All right. And your grandmama and them don't even know that this guy was, this is an actual person who lived. His father was a pope. All right. But nevertheless, they don't realize that the pope had his son painted up onto these images. And then your grandmama, the picture she got of her house is of this man. All right. And you thinking this is supposed to be Jesus. Right. And it's funny because this image on the left, my grandma got this picture in her damn house probably still to this same day. You know what I'm saying? The picture on the left, but not realize it's the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you was to be able to see who the name was on this here image, you'd be like, well, that ain't even Jesus. That's supposed to be somebody else. You just think that this is Jesus. But yet and still, in churches and everything else like that, they would have this here image going up versus like a more or less like a black image. Let's just say, for instance, an image like this, right? You was to have this here image. Like, who are these people y'all trying to say is the Lord and everything else like that? These is fake pictures. Y'all did some stuff to these images. These ain't even the real images. But then the so-called white man, right? This other image, right? They would say that this is more or less like Jesus, all right, when in reality, this was Cesare Borgia, all right? But yet and still, hey, matter of fact, they was just talking about it up here, that show, the Borgias or whatever. But this is who this man was modeled after, man, all right? But yet and still, people would sit here and argue these here things with you back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But, hey, like I said, the fact of the matter is, whenever you have people that actually have studied certain things, you know what I'm saying? If you really into this so-called religion and Catholicism and stuff like that, if you did a little bit of studying, you would know, oh yeah, because you talk to some of these people that's gone over there, went to these churches and stuff like that, or these, however you call them, these archbishops and stuff like that. They would tell you, yeah, we know that the mother and child, they was of so-called, all of our images are of black people over here. We know they was so-called black folks. We bow down to them. We know that they black folk. But you go and you ask your cooning ass grandmama in the church, and she got this damn image of this damn white man up on her wall. All right, this guy on the left. No, that's what Jesus looked like. If you was like point out these people, you're like, no, this is Jesus, and the black person, y'all done made that up. All right, but yet and still, reading her same Bible, she's never come across those scriptures saying that they painted the likeness of their images like unto themselves. They covered the faces of the judges thereof. All right, what they call iconoclasm. All right, whitewashing. All right, they whitewash every damn thing else. How much more the Lord, man? But this is something that was written about, that was in the scriptures. All right, but I was gonna bring this here out as well too, but I think I'll just reference it and everything. Matter of fact, let's just let me go back to the scriptures because I wanted to bring something out going into this where is that at? Isaiah chapter 30. Going into the two different guys, right? They would have different things. So this is Isaiah 30:9. It says, this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. All right, now when you're dealing with our people, they always say, oh, the law's done away with. Jesus did all this and Jesus did all that. But you got these two different people. See, now the guy we just looked up, that white dude, Cesare Borgia, all right, will have you believe, hey, you live it up, do as thou wilt. You know what I'm saying? You can do all these different things. The laws is done away with. This is who our people cleave unto. All right, but read this in Isaiah 30:9. This is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. You try to tell our people about the law, statutes, commandments. Oh, the law was done away with. The law was done away with. But then you hit them with, well, why y'all paying tithes in church? Oh, because you're supposed to. Well, how do you know you're supposed to pay tithes? Because it tell you in the Bible. Where does it tell you in the Bible? Oh, in the Old Testament and in the laws. Well, I thought you said the Old Testament, the books was closed on that. The laws was done away with. All right. Or hit them with, hey, so, the laws is done away with. So can I eat pork now? Yeah, the Lord, did away with the laws. Okay, so can I go and have sex with a damn animal? No, you can't have sex with no animal. Well, why can't I have sex with an animal? Oh, that's against the law in the scriptures. Well, what? I thought the laws was done away with. You know what I'm saying? So they like to pick and choose which laws that they want to obey and which laws they don't. They get all caught up with these things. But hey, like the scriptures say, this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. All right, they've created their own law. They've created their own God. All right. It says, which seed to the seers, seed not unto the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. All right. They want to hear prosperity doctrine. You can do whatever you want to go and do and everything else like that. But when it comes to the law, statutes, commandments following after that, we don't want to hear. Well, let's read the next verse. It says, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. All right. So, hey, they say, hey, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. They don't want to hear about the actual law, statutes, commandments, and the things like that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and grab that real quick. And Matthew 5:17 says, think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill. All right. And they would say, oh, he fulfilled the law. He fulfilled it. He had the sacrificial laws is done away with now. All right. You're not sacrificing no more because the Lord was the ultimate sacrifice. All right. But as far as everything else, the land Sabbaths and everything, because these people are so damn simple. They'll be over here complaining about GMO foods and everything else like that. Like, well, you did have the land Sabbaths and everything else like that, not to be gendering and mixing seeds and everything. But see, y'all think it's only 10 commandments to begin with. And then the other half of y'all know about this here stuff, but then y'all just pretend like, oh, the laws was done away with. But then you want to complain about the GMO food, which was, you wouldn't have that if you wasn't breaking the laws. You know what I'm saying? But, these are our people, man, a rebellious people, a stiff-necked people, man. All right. But like I said, man, throughout this here whole controversy of all these different things, oh, the Jews couldn't have been black and you so-called Negroes and so on and so, like, yo, the scriptures talk about these things, man. But not only that, the scriptures also tell you about the fact of the matter of them whitewashing these things, them with the iconoclasm and everything else like that, man. All right, the scriptures tell you about all these different, how do they put it? Pulling the pulling the wool over your eyes. All right, you had this thing called the Renaissance era. All right, the rebirth of Esau. All right, putting Esau back up into that position of power, man. All right, and in that process, what did they do? They covered all the faces of the judges thereof, man. All right, this is what they wound up doing to put themselves. Like, you look at Esau today, and they're the face of all the little hero stories and everything else like that. They're the face of all these different things. Make themselves look like, they even with inventions and technology, they always tell you, well, we invented this, we invented that. What they call it? What was it? Rome? I think it was either Rome or Greece. It might have been Rome. They came up with plumbing and everything, or like the aqueducts and plumbing and all that. Like, bro, they didn't have that shit way before that, bro. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about, but see, they tell you that they the ones to begin with all these things, or the father, or the Greeks were the beginning of civilization and everything else like that. When they say that, obviously, because you got Egypt before that, but they say, oh, well, of sophistication with Plato and Socrates and everything. I'm like, bro, they've been having writings way before all of that. Where y'all think y'all got it from, man? All right, but getting still, this is the thing that Esau does. It's called iconoclasm, man. All right, but hey, the scriptures speak, clearly about these things, man. So when you have our people that's arguing about the fact that, oh, his color didn't matter, they don't tell you what he looked like in the scriptures. You present him with the so-called white Jesus, and then you present him with a so-called, image of Yahushua, you know what I'm saying, or a depiction of Yahushua. They'll tell you that the depiction of Yahushua is completely off. In fact, you can even look that up, but we'll close out with this, but you look up Yahushua right here, man. Boom. Jake been doing their thing over here, but hey, in fact, this is Revelation 1:14 right here. All right, head and his hair white like wool. All right, with a garment down to his foot, girded about with the paps of the golden girdle. All right, this is what he looked like. All right, but yet and still, you show an image like this. We have it on the signs and everything else like that. You show an image like this, and Jake walked by like you got a damn alien on there, man. I don't know what y'all doing over there. Why y'all gotta paint the Lord like a black man? Why y'all gotta do all that? Why y'all gotta do all these things like that? Like, look, man. This is how the Bible describes him. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Like, but y'all know exactly what the Bible said. He had the white woolly hair, and his feet was like onto brass as if they burned in the furnace and everything else like that. You can read that in the Bible. You know about all those things, and you question this image, but you don't question the fact of the matter. You know he had hair white like wool, white as snow. But when you see that white man Jesus, you don't ever question why his hair is straight, stringy, and brown. All right, you don't ever question any of those things. You see his white skin and don't look brown or like anything burnt at all. All right, but yet and still, you see this image, you want to start questioning and think everything is going on. Y'all got a demon over there or something like that, man. Hey, but again, like I said, or like the scripture said, this is a rebellious people, man. All right, stiff-necked people. But I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone and taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth. And enduring afflictions, defeat, and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.